thank you very much for finding time. 39 people losing their life in the Chardham. We are trying to look into why it happened and what could be, done about it. And so, do you think it was avoidable?
Yeah, I think definitely this date would have avoided, because we can see I have gone through the statistics. To total 41 people died. Most of them died at this thing Kedarnath. I think 15 died at Kedarnath and 14 died at Yamunotri. So it's a very big number, I can say. Why I'm telling this number is big, I will tell you. Since last 100 years, people go and explore Everest. They climb on Everest. And in 100 years, only 300 death happens on the Everest. And in last 15 days, in Kedarnath and Yamunotri region, 41 death happens. So you can imagine the problem is quite big. And of course, it could have one can avoid this particular deaths if properly we spread the awareness about in the public that this Kedarnath and Yamunotri are the proper high altitude treks, and one has to do a proper preparation as well as take a prophylactic precaution before going in that particular trek. And I'm sure that if we spread this awareness among the public, that will definitely prevent such deaths in future.
Now, the example that you just quoted on the Everest, that's so striking because, and you said the last 100 years, which means Everest is, it's one of the most inaccessible places in terms of connectivity, facilities. Even in those situations, we lost very few compared to, the previous 41 lives we lost. So where are we lacking in this? Is there lack of facilities, infrastructure?
No, nothing like that. Any trek you will not have, means you can't blame on infrastructure and the trek. It's outdoor activity. Kedarnath, you can say this is a 16-kilometer treks, and it starts at Gaurikund, which is placed at 2,000 meters, and Kedarnath is placed at 3,500 meters. And between them, the gap is of 16 kilometers, and the height gain is 1,500 meters. So many people try to complete this much distance within one day, and that is quite dangerous. Means within one day, if they cover the 16 kilometers and also the height of 1,500 meters, it's a tough day for any high altitude climbers also. Those people who go for Kedarnath, they are generally in Hindu mythology, we say that when we visit Kedarnath and other pilgrim sites like Yamunotri and other Chardhams, they say this is a route of ultimate salvation. So generally elderly people go there and they are not fit on a par to explore that condition of that conditions. So my sincere advice that before going there, they should obtain optimal level of fitness by doing some aerobic training for 6 months prior to that thing. They should bring their weight down. And I also advise that those who have some ischemic heart disease, means heart problem or lung problem, they should avoid going at such high altitude places, because these high altitude, because you can't go directly by road there. For Kedarnath, you have to walk for 16 kilometers, and for Yamunotri, you have to walk for 6 kilometers. And that's at the height between some 2,000 to 3,500 meters. So it's a high altitude, and if we go without preparation there, ultimately high altitude sickness like high altitude pulmonary edema, where the water get accumulated in the lungs, and high altitude cerebral edema, where brain gets swell, and both of these conditions are life threatening. Moreover, those people who are not fit, they will get extra stress on their heart and lung, and they may land up in acute myocardial infarction, that we call it a heart attack. So it's one has to be do a very good approach, scientific approach before exploring these Chardhams, I can say.
So the statistics, it shows that majority of people who died were above 60 years. So does it, and combining it with what you just said, does it mean that we should tighten the screening procedure and the provisions that allow them to travel in terms of permissions based on existing preconditions?
Yeah, generally what happens, people generally, before going there, I think there should be some health screening should happen there. But moreover, even if health screening happens, if person don't have any optimal level of fitness, that cardiovascular stress will be very high if he gains that much height in 1 or 2 days. So I think that he should not have any health ailments like heart disease or lung disease. More on that, he should be fit enough to go and explore that thing. And I also advise that rather than going to Kedarnath within 1 day, people should take 2 or 3 breaks in that halts in that journey. And if they proceed slowly, then I think that this adverse outcomes will happen less as compared to what happening this year.
I was just wondering, is this rush or is it, pressure to finish, complete certain distance in 1 day? Is it because of, could it be because of the, is it a possibility that, on a specific day, a certain number of pilgrims are allowed to pass a certain distance so that the next day, another certain number can cover it? So should they regulate the numbers?
Yeah, I think government must regulate the number, and they should make compulsory that people should go. People should go by taking minimum 1 or 2 halts while approaching. At least one halt is mandatory to all, because 600 and 700 meters in 1 day, that should be the maximum height one should gain. Above that, no one should allow to go up. But right now there is no regulation. Those people who can do, they can go in 1 day if they are fit enough, and they, nothing will happen. But if something goes wrong, it directly life stakes. Means high altitude pulmonary edema. Suddenly there will be water accumulates in the lungs and person will succumb to death. And if the person have pre-existing heart disease like heart and blood pressure or any lung disease, that are these heart conditions, means heart attack, and will precipitate at that height. So my advice is that people should allow to go only by taking one halt in between. Rather than going to Gaurikund to directly Kedarnath, they should take one compulsory halt of 1 day before going upwards. I think that will be more rational solution, and I think that will definitely bring the death toll at a lesser level.
Now, also, sir, given the fact that we are living in an era where there's such proliferation of technology, all kinds of sensors to monitor your body vitals. So, do you think that a good inclusion of technology in terms of, even if people are cleared, but that something could happen suddenly, so things like smartwatch is one such example, but do we have technologies, or can they be put in place in such a way that if somebody experiences a sudden trouble, that the immediate next medical post is alerted?
Yeah, but you look at the volume, the kind of people travel in 1 day, or some 15,000 to 20,000 people go in 1 day that year. I think number is more than this thing, what I'm telling. So how you will handle these things? Yeah, these are required. Means pulse oximeter, we can say that due to the COVID, everybody is aware about the pulse oximeter. These people should carry pulse oximeter with them. If oxygen level is going down, they should stop. And there should be some availability of oxygen on the route. If some patient gets breathing difficulty, or his oxygen level gets below 90, that particular patient should receive immediate oxygen and other medical health if possible. So I think on the route, there should be some medical relief camps, and that should be equipped with oxygen and require medicines and expertise which can handle such type of these things. But at the most important treatment in this thing is that we have to do the prophylactic medicines before. If somebody is going at that high altitude, certain medicines like scientifically proven, like acetazolamide, that medicine, if we take twice daily, morning and evening, we have to start that medicine 1 to 2 days prior to the our trek. And after taking that medicine, if that person take that medicine continuously throughout the journey, then rate of mishap is significantly less. So we have to think in that perspective also, that these people should be advised to take this prophylactic medicine like acetazolamide, and that can be life-saving for the patient, because that will prevent high altitude illness. And once high altitude illness happens, the treatment only the oxygen and rapid descent. I mean, one has to go rapidly down. So this is what the strategy should be there.
Now, given a specific volume of people traveling, that means there are different age groups. There are senior people, young people, trekkers, explorers. So at least among the young people, if a few people could be trained to handle emergency, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? So that there is, help within the group itself.
Yeah, rather than training people and deploying that, I think that awareness about high altitude illness among the all who are exploring that particular area, that is quite important. Okay, how many people you will train? But those person who wants to go there and explore the high altitude areas, I think awareness should be brought among them. There are anything which is more than 2000 meters and I am going up to 3500 meters. It's all high altitude expedition. So we have to bring the awareness among these enthusiastic people, because if they are going to that much extent to achieve the darshans of the Lord Shiva and all these things, they are ready to take that much efforts. They can easily read one pamphlet. Okay, these things one should do and these should not be done. So if we make the gross public awareness about the high altitude illness and high altitude medical emergencies, I think that is the long-term solution for this particular problem. If somebody is aware, I am aware. When I regularly go in Himalayas, I go up to 6,500, 7,000 meters also. But awareness that we have to take certain medicines before going that, because that is acetazolamide, and we have to take we should be aware, because if somebody gets some breathing difficulty or somebody gets suddenly headache, he has to stop there and he should return back from that particular place, because this high altitude illness suddenly it doesn't happen. It will give some warning sign, because somebody gets excessive restlessness or somebody feels some headache and vomiting. If such situation happen, they should stop there, they should get oxygen there and there itself, and they should return from that particular this thing. So prophylaxis means prevention and rapid recognition of the symptoms and rapid descent. I think these three things we should keep in the mind. Otherwise, people should explore Himalaya out of spirituality. Some people explore out of, so people like me, we go for just to get the sheer joy of the nature. People should go this thing, but before putting the feet on the slopes of Himalaya, they should be fully aware about the high altitude illness and how to deal with it, how to prevent it, and what to be done, and what one should not be doing.
So you said, and it's good to have 6 months of preparation in terms of fitness training.
If somebody is going to go at Kedarnath and Yamunotri, because at Badrinath they can go by directly a vehicle go at that place. You can see there are no dates at the hardly dates at the Gangotri and Badrinath, one or two. That's okay. But when you are going at Yamunotri or when you are going to especially Kedarnath, I think 6 months of preparation, aerobic exercise like brisk walking or some swimming. You have to train your heart and lungs to that much to that stress. If you train, you take a proper exercise for 6 months. You do the regular exercise for 6 months. I think, and take proper precautions, prophylactic medicines, and you go a gradual and slow ascent. I think it will be a joyous trip rather than listening like this mishap. We will see some spiritual stories out of that.
Now, telemedicine is gaining a lot of popularity these days with all the satellite networks and other things. Do you find a place for telemedicine that could be deployed here, which could deal with the situation, a little better?
Yeah, telemedicine is required, but telemedicine is required to, I think in this telemedicine will help only in prevention. Telemedicine means we can spread the awareness about the people, and we can bombard them that if you have a headache or if you have breathing difficulty, stop that at this place, or check the oxygen situation, take a rest, and go start your journey next day. So we have to sensitize people on the high altitude illness and its symptoms. And regarding certain precautions, like they should take certain tablets like acetazolamide, and they should keep hydrated themselves, and they should go slowly, because if you go slower, your body will get more time to get acclimatized at that particular height, and adverse outcomes will be less likely with that thing. So basically, if somebody is going for a Kedarnath, in telemedicine, we have to bombard only these things, that if you are going to the high altitude trek and you require proper physical preparation before that, you should not be having any medical condition like a heart disease or lung disease before going there. You should be aware about the high altitude illnesses and its symptoms before putting your feet on the slopes of Himalaya. Third, you should take a certain medicines like acetazolamide before starting the journey. And third, you should keep yourself hydrated throughout the journey, and you should take one break, minimum one break in the journey, so that suddenly there will not be a challenge for your body to acclimatize that particular height. And I think there should be a gradual ascent. And if any symptoms like a severe headache or altered sensation or breathing difficulty happens, oxygen saturation level falls, that patient should be brought down rapidly. I think if we follow these things, and if you bombard this thing by digital technologies or any telemedicine or anything, I think that itself will save lives. I have some certain figures. In 2017, 100 people died. 2018, 100 people died. 2019, 100 people died. And in the last 2 years, there was no such pilgrimages. And this year, in last 3 weeks, I think around 41 people died. So I think these if you consider the deaths of 3 years are more than Everest, I said that. So there should be certain measures. Yeah, government should bring make some government should bring some increase the budget on these Chardham Yatras, and that should be deployed for giving the healthcare facility on the route, and that should be spent on spreading the awareness among the pilgrims. Awareness and medical care. I think in these two cares, if government spend money or increase the budget, I think that will be life saving for these pilgrimage people.
Thank you very much for your time and insightful explanations. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. It was nice to interact with you. Thank you.